Idioms. Idioms are words used together that have a different meaning than how the dictionary defines them. The words are grouped together and are not traditionally used or in an expected way for the literal meaning of the words. In the previous chapter, for example, air your dirty laundry was given. Someone unfamiliar with the figurative meaning of this phrase might be confused by it. Unfortunately, there are countless idioms in the English language, so there is no easy way to learn, recognize, or understand them. If you encounter a phrase and the denotative meaning of the words does not seem to fit the meaning of the sentence, try to use the context, clues, or critical thinking to determine its meaning. Some common idioms appear on the following slides. Playing with fire. To do something dangerous that will most likely end up causing harm to the person doing it. Example: you're playing with fire if you ignore the doctor's warnings about your blood pressure. From the bottom of my heart. With great sincerity or seriousness. Example: thank you from the bottom of my heart for that concert ticket. It was a wonderful show. Head in the clouds. To be distracted or dreamy. Example: you haven't heard a word I've said, so will you please get your head out of the clouds? Break the ice. To make an introduction. To start conversation or communication. Example: both Bryce and Camina were nervous on their first date, so he tried to tell her some funny jokes to break the ice. Piece of cake. Something that is easily completed. Example: Corrine was worried about her math test, but it was a piece of cake since she had studied so hard for it. Have cold feet. Nervous or scared to do something. Example: the bride started to get cold feet before the ceremony started. Sounds fishy. Something that sounds suspicious or unlikely. Example: the detectives thought that the suspect's story sounded fishy and they were sure he was lying. Skating on thin ice. Doing something risky or dangerous. Example: Wilson was skating on thin ice with his mother when he left the house without cleaning his room.
Picture this. A high school boy who loves to play soccer has a few bad games. His coach yells at him that he needs to play better. The boy goes home and tells his parents he is thinking about quitting the team after having played so poorly. His dad says to him, "So that's it? You're done? You're going to throw in the towel?" The boy looks at his dad and says, "What towel?" Have you ever had a conversation like this one? It is not uncommon for someone to use speech in the way the father does in this scenario. This boy's father used something called an idiom to make a point about giving up. It sounds like the father is asking his son if he will really throw in a towel, when in fact, the father is really just asking about giving up. This type of word usage can show up in stories, poems, books, essays, and most commonly, everyday speech. So what is an idiom exactly? Idioms are groups of words that are not used in common, literal, or expected ways. To understand idioms, you have to know the hidden meaning. Unfortunately, idioms are not so easy to understand by non-native individuals. In fact, even different parts of the country can have their own territorial idioms. So remember, idioms don't mean exactly what the words say. They have hidden meanings. Here are some common idioms you may have heard with their meanings. Kick the bucket. To die. In a pickle. Having a problem. Silver lining. The good that comes from something bad. Spill the beans. To tell the whole story. Golden opportunity. An opportunity that should not be passed by. Green light. A signal to go ahead and do something. In hot water. In trouble. Red-handed. Caught in the act of doing something wrong. Add fuel to the fire. Make a problem bigger than it already is. Can you think of other idioms you have heard where the literal or original meaning doesn't make any sense? Most of us, at one time or another, have experienced someone else communicating with us through an idiom, and we may not have known what that person meant. The best thing to do when you are unsure if someone is using an idiom is simply ask what they really mean. So when you decide to throw in the towel on understanding idioms, think of our soccer player who decided to quit playing soccer. Instead of giving up, keep asking yourself questions about what a speaker or writer might really be trying to communicate to you.